Committee today, Monday the 13th of May. And the first item on the agenda is to elect a chair for the meeting. Do we have anybody who's interested?
I'd like to propose Councillor Frank, if you take it again.
Anybody second? Yes. And everyone to vote?
We can try. Thank you, Emmett. I wait till later to get chucked out.
The meeting is yours.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, apologies for absence received.
We've had apologies today from the Mayor, who was unable to attend due to a civic event.
Thank you.
I've got to leave at 5 to 7.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Item 3, declaration of interest. To receive any declaration as disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda.
Yes, I have a non-pecuniary interest in the Jubilee Centre application 24-00388.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not a member of this committee, but let me declare an interest. I have a particular interest in SAP 21. I have a written dispensation dating back to November on this subject.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Councillor.
Well, given that Councillor Black has declared an interest, I feel I should, in planning application reference number 24/00388, because I actually wrote the planning application.
Okay. Oh, Councillor Miles?
Yeah, reference number 24000473, erection of a two-storey extension, 51 St George's Road. That property directly adjoins my house, so I won't take any part in that discussion or vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, to consider co-optees. Members to consider up to 3 individuals with knowledge of or expertise that will benefit the committee's operation to become co-optees. Decisions required.
I agree with it if everyone else feels the same way. It's to keep the original we had before. So John Hennessy from the Town History Society, this Summer Hayes for regard from the town team, and obviously Nikki Warden, the tree warden. She was part of the co-optive, but she never promised you to give her a report once a month.
I'll second.
All in favour of that?
No. I would point out that no people come from the South Ward, and this council is supposed to represent both North and South Ward. Nobody is from the South Ward in your
I
co-op.
don't think that matters here. It's someone from the town team and someone from the History Society, so they nominate, it's up to them to nominate, they don't nominate.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I do make the point that this council is supposed to represent North Ward and South Ward, and there's a disproportionate number from the North Ward.
But, well, your objection can be noted, but it's just one of those things that happen.
I'll just ask a question. Would you know of anybody that may
No,
be suitable?
I'm
flagging it
sure
up.
that someone can be found.
Okay. So that's an action, can't it?
It can do, yeah. But it's, I know I'm from the south, or the quite a few. It's a lot of insurance.
I mean, would it be worth writing to both the town team and the local history society to say we'd like you to nominate someone, and if you have someone from the South Ward, then that would be beneficial.
I'd be more than happy with that. It's just everybody in the North Ward is not, in my view, right. I appreciate not everybody would agree with that.
No.
So an action
It would contact those 2
societies
societies.
and ask if they have any representatives from
Yeah,
the
and we get there, we'll say, well, they're from the south or not from the north. Yeah, just about that.
So, I mean,
Yeah. We'll try. Okay. Item 5. Minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Wednesday the 3rd of April 2024, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda.
Yeah, bear with me. Close acceptance.
Yeah, proposed acceptance?
Yeah.
All in favour of that? Item 6, public participation. The 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk by noon prior to the day of the meeting.
We have 2 requests to speak this evening. The first is from Richard, who is here. You have his comment?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
At the front, please.
Good evening. My name is Richard Parkinson, and I'm speaking to you this evening on behalf of the Sandwich Residents Group that opposes any development on the Archers Low Farm site, which is one of the sites you're going to be talking about, I would imagine, as you look at the main modifications to the local plan, which is, I believe, the next agenda item. The inclusion of Archers Low Farm, as you probably know, is fairly controversial. The recent application for development was turned down, and the planning committee, you yourselves, opposed the development, as did Dover Planning when they turned it down initially. But it was then taken to appeal by the developers, and then the inspector turned down the appeal. That's last year. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but there are quite a number of quotes from the inspector's decision that might be relevant. He said the scheme would be particularly intrusive due to the need to break into wooded countryside. The expansion of a suburban built form would have a pronounced visual impact on this sensitive location, which is presently enclosed and provides part of an attractive wooded setting to Sandwich. A lot of you probably know the site. Development would have an adverse effect on the character and appearance of the area, with particular regard to the loss of trees, resulting in a substantial degree of harm. This proposal is in conflict with CS Policy DM1. The proposal would adversely affect the character and appearance of the countryside, in conflict with Policy DM15. It would give rise to landscape character harm which would not be avoided, reduced or mitigated to an acceptable level by design measures, in conflict with Policy DM16. He goes on, although the proposal's visual impact will be localised and confined mainly to the adjacent section of Sandown Road, this tree-lined stretch provides a particularly sensitive gateway into Sandwich. The tree belt along the appeal site makes a strong contribution to the sylvan appearance of the surroundings. The roadside tree growth provides an intimately close character to the landscape. And he goes on and he explains at some length. And in the email I sent you today, I did attach the appeal decision, should you wish to read it in full. But he does say, I consider this site to be an integral part of the unspoiled countryside that wraps around this part of Sandwich and makes a significant contribution to the town's setting. I find the site's sensitivity to be high. Now, as I'm sure you know, it seems to me that it should have been excluded from the local plan when it was put through. Inclusion makes little sense. There's enormous local opposition to the development on this out-of-town site. Over 1,600 people have now signed the petition and joined the residents group, which in our small town is a phenomenal number and indicates an overwhelming feeling in the town against the development. So I do hope that you'll pick up this feeling in responding to the consultation. But as I think you all know, your response has to be to the main modifications being suggested, and that means it's rather technical. You've got to tie it in to the main modifications. And after talking to some of you, you actually suggested that we might help by drafting something. So we've taken the liberty of actually drafting something which may be helpful as you come to consider your response, because it has all the appropriate policy references that might be useful. I think that's it really. That's all I've got to say. I mean, of course, if you feel that the approach is right, that the detail is a bit too much to cover tonight, then you want to delegate responsibility to, well, I was going to say the mayor, but he's not here, so maybe the deputy mayor and the town clerk to agree the wording, the detailed wording subsequently. That's fine, and we'd obviously be happy to provide any support that would be helpful. Thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second member of the public to speak is Lynn. Good evening. Archers Low Farm. Last November, 2 planning inspectors held a hearing to test the soundness of the proposed local plan. The Archers Low site featured on the list of available sites. One of the inspectors turned to the team from the DDC Planning and pointedly asked them, why is this site still included? Surely the planning history proves it is totally unsuitable. A DDC planning officer replied, we've been working closely with the developer and he's reduced the number of houses by 20. The inspector said this site is not suitable even for 5 houses. It's not suitable at all for development. Previously, this site has been refused several times for planning and subsequent appeal. Many residents are amazed that Archers Low still features in the proposed local plan. Why hasn't it been withdrawn? The planning history of the site shows, for a wide variety of reasons, that it is totally unsuitable. The natural beauty of the site, along with rich biodiversity and protected trees, are outstanding. It is also A1 agricultural land. The close proximity to the Ramsar site and the route for migrating birds will be permanently damaged. This area is also a recreational amenity and the world-famous Golf Open will be adversely affected. The roads around that area are very narrow and the tractors, lorries and trucks struggle to gain access to Sandown Road, which is already congested with lots of parking along there. We need Archers Low Farm removed from the local plan. Thank you for listening.
Councillors, would you be happy to sort of lead on this? Please, Deputy Mayor.
I'm happy to, let's see what the outcome is in the discussion
Yeah, because
first.
it's 24th of May, isn't it, deadline?
Yes,
So
there's enough time.
Yeah, it's the one next one on the agenda, isn't it?
it's really not off,
Yeah, let's see what we agree.
So, item 7, Derry District Local Plan, consultation on main modification. Consultation on the main modification due to the Regulation 19 submission local plan, deadline 5 p.m. on 24th May 2024, decision required.
I've got 3 items. First one is, I have failed to see why on section 3.4, sandwich housing numbers go from 227 to 282. Now, there is absolutely no logic for this whatsoever. This is a load of unadulterated nonsense. I hope this council will actually, and this planning committee, will actively oppose this. Because can anyone tell me the justification for this increase? I can't see it.
Yeah, I think it's because one of them is the land next to the school, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's only 20 houses additional.
Yeah, I know, but you're asking, I think that's one of them.
But that doesn't account for the other, what, 50?
Yeah.
It's, sorry, but
I think what's happened is down the Sandwich Industrial Estate, the developers bought extra land. Because originally it's only, I don't know, about 30 years, I think, first time this application went in, and I think now he's bought some extra bits, some other little businesses are shut down, so he bought some more of them old RAF buildings there, so it's all been cleared off, so I think that's where the extra increase has been put.
well, let's hope so, but let's remember in March there was the opposition in this committee to any work on Discovery Park.
Yeah, it's not Discovery Park, this is Willowbank.
Okay, that's point number 1. Strategic Policy 3 Housing Group, now MMB MM837. And this, I think, is of particular relevance. The last paragraph on that page says, development that would result in disproportionate growth to any of the district's settlements, which cannot be supported by the necessary infrastructure and service, or would result in loss of services and facilities which are considered to be key to supporting local communities, will be resisted. Now, we've heard about some of the things in Archer's Law say that the site I'm concerned about, which is 21, does the same. And when we look at what is proposed on the land beside the school, it's even worse. You're not going to get any Section 106 money at all.
They stopped it, haven't they? They're stopping it, aren't they?
What, stopping what?
106 money.
So we're going to get absolutely nothing.
No, we don't either.
You know, and this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then let me come on to SAP 21. This is the land adjacent to Sandwich Technology School. Now, this has been consistently pushed forward by this council over the years, and I've been opposing it for 10 years. And I've seen every single meeting, every single video, and I know who voted for what. This is appalling. This is typical of the south side being dumped with houses while the north side gets off scot-free. That is no longer acceptable. We've had 2 major developments in the past 5 years, and this is yet another one that's going to be dumped upon us. That's the first thing. We're stuck with that because this council voted for it in 2021. However, it now gets worse. They now want to, for provision of a playing field which is donated free to a private academy, to build an extra 20 houses. Blow this. I mean, we're going to get nothing as Sandwich Town from this playing field because it'll be fenced off. It won't be available to the community. It'll only be available if you pay and you're an organised sports team. And we're going to get 20 more houses for this. Now, a lot of the things mentioned in Archer's Law are exactly the same there. The only thing is we haven't got many trees there, but we've got an absolutely magnificent hedge. It's on the approach to Sandwich, and that's all going to be destroyed. And you look at, our speaker earlier talked about DN15 and DN16. Both of these apply to this site. Yet this council should oppose this, because it's ridiculous that a private organisation has this. Now, there's another complicating factor is that, you know, one of the governors is associated with this council. No information being given to this council beforehand about this. Poor old Councillor Wiles turned up at the Dover council meeting in November to be confronted by this. And I was confronted because I was a private citizen, because I've been objecting for such a long time, and I put objections into Dover. This council must oppose further houses on this site. Probably we can do nothing about the 40. We sure as heck can do something about the 60. There's no justification whatsoever for it.
I think you'll find that the private farmer had that field, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it would always be private land, even if it's going to be a proposed swimming pool. So it's never going to be public land.
This swimming pool would have at least had far more public access because it was under different ownership. The school in recent years has taken over the leisure centre and now runs the leisure centre. It was technically the final owner, but that was the leisure centre which had public access available. This is not the case now.
Only if you paid. You had to
any
pay.
Leisure centre, any.
Well, you were saying about free access a minute ago.
Yeah, if you paid anything, but this is going to be fenced off. It's private. No one will have access to it except with the school's permission. This is crazy.
I think it's the extra houses. The school's not going to have that side, are they? The academy.
It is. That's what it says.
I just want to pick up on a couple of points you mentioned, Ian. So, the 55 reflects the 2 component parts. So, the key thing for me is if we're going to respond on the main modifications, which is this is what it's about. It's not about whether the request for planning should be supported or not. And I appreciate what you're saying. Very clear there's been a long line of objections, particularly Archer's Low Farm. The risk is, if we aren't very clear about what it is we say, and I know Richard's good points about trying to tie it into the national inspectors' comments, etc. But very easily, from a reviewer's point of view who holds this documentation, they will just say, not relevant to this stage of the process. That's a real risk. So going back to Ian, particularly, the point you make regards the technology school. The argument put forward is the increase is because they need less space for the sports fields. So they therefore have been able to factor in, this is not me justifying anything at all. I can understand what's presented, and it's how the response goes back. If we go back and say we don't agree with 20 extra houses, that will fall on deaf ears in this stage of the process, as far as I'm concerned. So I think if we're going to make any representations around anything within the modifications, we have to be very clear about what we're saying. You've gone some of the way, Richard, but I think even in terms of what you've said, could easily be discounted by the reviewers.
I totally agree. In fact, if you look at our draft notes, you'll find that we only made fleeting reference to the appeal decision last year. It's just that I wasn't sure whether all the councillors would have had the opportunity to.
And that might be the same thing, but I just know how these
I
reviews.
agree.
Councillor Pennington.
Thank you. I would like to underline the problems with infrastructure, first of all. It's true that the section 106 is not applied, and I feel that the roads around Sandwich are much too congested and much too narrow, and nothing is going to be done about this. I think this is a general point which is relevant to the local plan, and I do think it's a point that we should underline. The second point is the importance of natural wildlife habitats right around Sandwich, which I think need to be protected, and a lot of these proposals go too far in that respect. Thank you.
Councillor Miles.
Yes, thank you. I think on SAP 21 rather, one of the points I made at the examination in public was that this could be an opportunity, regardless of whether it's 40 or 60, this could be an opportunity to do something about the school and its dropping off, picking up and dropping off. Because that road is a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Go down there in the morning or afternoon and it's cars nose to tail all the way along, dropping off or picking up. And it's dangerous. There's no infrastructure there. So the development of this site could be an opportunity to create, as part of a planning arrangement, a proper lay-by for the school, drop-off area for the school, to make it safer for students too.
I think the architects did the lay-by for the access from this site, what we do. Firstly, I've always wanted the Dover Road roundabout opened up and Dover Road being blocked off as a cul-de-sac, so you get that, but they won't do that.
No.
No, but anyway.
So I think we should make that point in our submission.
Just quickly, Chair, thank you. So, SAP 22 Archers Low Farm, I've been heavily involved in this since I was elected when I was in the North Ward. I've also attended most of the inspector meetings as well at Dover District Council, and it's quite clear that it was clear that the inspector and others have said that this is not a suitable site to be developed on. That was also that meetings were filmed as well, so they can be transcripted. I do feel that the road down that road it will be very congested and stuff. I do feel that biodiversity will be destroyed down there as well. So I do feel that part of what the gentleman behind us just said regarding the stuff he sent in the email, the Sandwich Town Council should request to the inspector that it should be removed from the local plan.
That's what I agree with.
What did we decide on SAP 21? Because we've just slid into 22, but for 21, this is a very serious objection that we add a 50% extra houses onto this site, which the inspectors themselves recognise there are problems with drainage, standing water, sewerage, and so on. So, is this council going to oppose the additional 20 houses? We can do nothing about the 40. We've been stuck with that. And it's the same with Archers Low. You've been stuck with that. It's changes to Archers Low that you can discuss. But what are you going to do about SAP 21? We can't just slide over it.
You're talking about your road one?
Right, let's just put the road one, yeah?
Sandwich Tech.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when they put the new lay-by in on the Deal Road, I think the access would be from the Deal Road.
The access will be from Deal Road, that's not in
Well,
dispute, that was never in dispute.
But to me, personally, I think it would be quite a nicer access, but I'm sure it doesn't meet the planning criteria, so you just don't want extra 20 houses in there.
So I was just going to say, I would suggest at this stage of the process, because it is about the modifications that Dover District Council are proposing against their source document, what the challenge should only be, can only be at this stage is that there is no justification for increasing by 50% the number of dwellings on that plot of land. So there isn't a rationale in there. There's a hint that it's down to a reduction in hectares, but that's not a justification. So I think that is the only challenge at this stage of the process.
Just query the extra
I
houses.
say we don't accept it. Justification isn't presented that argues for a 50% increase in dwellings.
We know there's going to be trouble with the sewer, with the water supply, don't we? Because always have
Consequences. Yeah.
so the water pressure will be dropping and the sewage will have to be pumped out. So we'll say that we're not very happy with we don't want the extra 20 houses on that.
If we agree.
If we agree on that, don't we? Yeah.
And in the Archers Low one is with the Sandwich Town Council requests that the Archers Low site is removed from the local plan.
Yeah. All happy with that?
Well, could I suggest on Archer's Law that we agree to delegate the written submission to the chair and the deputy mayor and the town clerk based on the text that Richard has supplied to councillors.
Yeah.
And on SAT 21, could we say we don't support 40 increase to 60, but I don't think there's yet a site design been submitted for that. So if you retain the 40, it gives more scope to create a decent access to the site with drop off and pick up areas for the school.
These points were very clearly made before about the problems of that road, and the points that you've made, Councillor Wise. That's what we're going to have, is this additional thing that is the particular problem. That road is a huge problem. We all know it's a huge problem.
Deal Road.
Deal Road, yes.
Yeah.
But don't put them on Deal Road, wherever they will have a right.
Speed limit's far too fast for one thing, isn't it?
Sorry?
I said the speed limit's far too fast, but then again they go for extra lamp posts. But where the 106 money would have come in, wouldn't it? They could drop the speed limit and extra lamp posts, better visibility.
Yeah.
So you're happy that?
Sorry, just to clarify, Councillor Sugar, you proposed saying that there's no justification for the increase in the houses.
This is
yes.
for the.
And then that was second point, is that was
I'm happy to say that.
Yeah, so I was just checking, thank you. And then there was to be a letter drafted.
Yeah, let's draft it. We'll copy that.
Action.
Thank you.
And then the other one that
Sandwich Town Council request that they have it removed from the local plan.
And so who's second?
No, I think that, I don't want to play.
But sorry, the proposal is that the mayor, the deputy mayor and the town clerk put together a document based on the text that Richard has submitted.
Will we get sight of that when he goes?
Good.
Because sometimes things don't get shown to councillors and they go from this building.
I think we've got to trust that they do it correctly. I think time's too tight to sort of have another meeting, isn't it? Time is drafted and then it gets off to Dover.
Yeah, see I don't think we want to draft by committee, but my view would be that the end product should be shared with certainly the councillors and certainly the two speakers tonight in terms of their representations would be my view, but happy to be corrected on that.
Yeah, and both DVC councillors as well.
Yeah. So you'll have to get right in this letter. Okay. Right. Item 8.
We're voting, right?
Yeah, we voted on it, all in favour of that, haven't we? Yeah.
Can I just make a point that just realising consultation is an online consultation, so we can send a letter separately, but we just need to be aware that it's actually an online consultation.
Yeah.
So we are expected to submit those,
Sometimes it works better if you do it individually rather than city council. Yeah. Right. Thank you. Good. 7:55. Okay. Thank you. Item 8, planning application. Application plans and papers can be viewed on the Dover District Council website. A. Planning application reference number 24/00258. Proposal variation of conditions 2. Approved plans. 3. Method statement. 5. Ecological design and management strategy. 6. Construction environmental management plan. And 11. Subs for planning permission. 22/00705 for the installation of an electrical battery storage facility, including the installation of UKPN connection, area and equipment, ground raising, landscape and associated work to allow amendments and wording of condition. Location, Richmond Energy Business Park, Sandwich Road, Kent Stanley Power Station, isn't it?
The last planning permission, the 22 one was voted in favour by Sandwich Town Council.
yes.
Yeah, just a retreat to it, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'll propose that then.
I think-
All in favour?
Sorry, are you okay?
But I've got a question before we do.
Oh,
Sorry,
right then.
when I went through this, has this not been submitted already to the planning?
I thought it had.
And has it, when I checked out, it was moved by Councillor Carlton, seconded by Councillor Mallet, and resolved that the Town Council supports the planning application 24/00258 for Richborough Energy Park. So this has already gone through the process.
Yeah, no, I thought some of these other ones had as well.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I've got that as well.
Yeah, I know.
Jeff.
Yeah, I thought that was the one that was behind the, so we've got the two roundabouts where the petrol stations are. Beyond where the old power station was, where we see the pink and the yellow, I thought that was part of the previous application, and this is an extra area that's being added.
So if you see here on the plan application itself, it says variation of conditions 2, approved or approved plans. So this is just probably an amendment
Which
to the original
adds,
plans.
there's an area, because if you look at the application, there's an area immediately adjacent to the first roundabout coming from Sandwich, which wasn't included in the previous one.
Yeah. What's been
So-
amended here.
Yeah.
So, I'll propose it, who's got a second now?
Sorry, I'm going to have to chat. I'll get better the longer I'm here, Jeff, so don't worry.
Yeah.
But if I look at the logged reports that have gone in and comments against this planning application, the most recent one, 16th of April, is our response.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what we're doing voting on
No.
something that we're the most recent to say
Yeah.
we're supportive. I could be wrong.
I did query this with the town clerk, because I think somebody put it through quite recently.
Yeah, we did.
They've already responded.
We've done.
Yeah,
we just
There is
moved
a
on.
variation, this application on that one that you've originally commented on. There's amendments, which
There's
is why
amendments.
they report it back.
Yeah.
I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Councillor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because before it was, battery storage, isn't it, as well, did last time, wasn't it?
So, the application was received on the 7th of March. The application was validated on the 8th of March. The proposal then was a variation. We submitted our comments in April, so I'm struggling to see how we
For
haven't got
me,
to that.
DPC planning don't then have to put in a resubmission date online for an amendment. They can
Okay,
just
so they
send
have
us
amended it, right,
notification of
okay,
an
I
amendment.
accept that. That's fine.
Well, I would like to propose that we accept,
Yeah. In any case.
Yeah.
or
Councillor Knowles?
confirm our acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in favour of that? Yeah, it's like this one here. Planning application reference number 24/00388, proposal siting of 2 shipping containers with paving covered external space, location Trinity Centre, Jubilee Road, Salmon, CT 13 0QP.
Yes, thank you. There used to be containers there before, when the previous managers had it, so I don't see why they can't go back again, so I recommend approval for them.
Yeah. Did you declare interest?
but I'm here to support this application.
Yeah, you should I think you declare an interest.
I'm not a member of this committee. I was told I asked to give a talk in the public participation section, and I was told that as a councillor I should come to this committee and speak.
I think it's going to go through anyway, but okay, go on then.
There is a reason for me wanting to speak,
Yeah, go on then.
and it's not just to do with the planning application. I want to make it clear that this is the basic building block of a development which the Jubilee Centre is hoping to take forward. But in order to take it forward, we need to make applications to outside funders. And outside funders wish to have that basic building block of planning commission in place before they grant us any funds. And we do currently have a grant application in process. It's being considered. Whether we'll get the money is an open question. We think it's a strong application. What we're applying to do is provide a community shed which would be based on the men's shed movement which started in Australia, and there are two very good examples of community sheds round about in East Kent, particularly in Broadstairs and at Beachange in Aylsham. And we think that Sandwich South should have this additional amenity whereby people can come and develop hobbies, make objects, develop a repair cafe, for example. We're also asking for a space outside the two containers which will provide an outdoors community cafe. And the storage space, the two containers, one will be a workshop and the other will be a storage space. The storage space will provide storage for equipment for a community garden, a community tree nursery, which is already funded by KCC, and equipment for the workshop. So that's the strategy that we put in place at the Jubilee Centre for further development. It takes advantage of the large grounds that the Jubilee Centre is surrounded by and which have until now not been used. So although there's no guarantee that we'll get outside funding, we do think that we have a strong case for that, but we have to have planning permission before we can take that further.
I just going to say, looking from a planning application perspective, as Councillor Marie mentioned, there have previously been similar items there. It's looking at the layout, it's reasonably well screened from outside the centre. Also disabled access has been, to both containers has been considered in the layout, so I'm supportive of it, certainly from a pure planning perspective.
So you're proposing it, Kenneth?
I'm proposing it, yeah.
You're all in favour? D, planning application reference 24/00409, proposal roof refurbishment of roof.
You've missed one.
Missed one.
Yes.
C.
Yeah, well, I was going to switch you around the other way. Because I think one's building one, I think others conservation area, but anyway, I'll switch them back then, alright. C, planning application reference number 24/00410, proposal re-roofing work to include the introduction of insulation, replacement roof tile, underlay and 3-number roof line. Location, the Coach House, 1 Austin's Lane, Sam, CT Kent, CT139BX. The design is quite nice. So I'd like to propose it.
I would like to support this application.
Yeah.
And I think we should always support improved installation.
Yeah.
The owners seem to have taken a lot of trouble to get the right sort of hand tiles. And in general, I think the proposals look as though they're in sympathy with the environment in which the building is located.
You know, bakeries in it here today.
Yes.
I would also like to support the proposal. I think it's important work which is done is consonant with, it's in sympathy with the surroundings, and I think from the application that they've tried to do that.
Councillor Miles? No. Oh, so we've got proposal and a second, all in favour of this? C. Planning application, reference number 2/00409, proposal roof refurbishment of roof to include replacement tiles, pan tiles and roof light. Location Coach House, 1 Austin Lane, Sandwich, Kent, CT13 9PN. Slightly different,
Is it?
well, I think it's more about the roof this time, isn't it?
No, so I've looked through both those planning applications and they've got exactly the same documents except for 09 includes the proposed block plans and the elevations, whereas the 10 doesn't. So my only assumption is they've updated it to include the proposed block plans which we're missing off of.
I think
well,
very often in the conservation area, don't forget we get a planning application and then we get a conservation application. So one of these might be the planning application, you know, and the other one is the conservation application.
all the same documents read exactly the same way.
More or less, yeah. I don't
No,
know
they
whether I don't know whether they're incorporated. Yeah, I don't know whether they're incorporated with one document.
And they're against the same planning portal reference for
I know it's frustrating, but you're right, there's two separate for one planning issue.
Yeah.
You have to apply separately for your conservation and then for the actual planning.
Yeah.
For the conservation area.
Yeah.
So, sorry, would that be the same proposer and seconder as
Yeah,
before?
with that?
Yeah.
All in favour of that? Yeah, I think all in favour. Okay. E, planning application reference number 24/00432, proposal internal alteration to open up a section of wall between the kitchen and dining room on the ground floor, location 49 New Street, Sandwich, Kent, CT13 9BB. There's a lot of work done on this house, and it was a right tatty old state. I must commend the work that they've done. And I think it's a good bit of it's just a tweak, isn't it? So, so I'd like to propose this.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favour?
Yeah.
F. Planning application, reference number 24/00336, proposal replacement of two first floor windows with Victorian sash windows, location 32 Metsol Sandwich, Kent, CT13 9AU. Oh, quite nice today. That's all right.
Yeah, so this is, I've just had a look at this, there's crystal windows upstairs,
Yeah.
wooden downstairs. It's in the conservation area, there is no absolute policy against UPVC in the conservation area, but I think we prefer it not to happen. There is a house opposite that has UPVC windows, but as a general principle, I think we should be against
Wooden windows.
against UPVC sash windows when wood sash windows are available. That's my view.
I would like to agree with Councillor White.
Turns decision down then. Object to it. Anyone else? Yeah. So we've got to,
So from my perspective, it's metal windows going to UPVC. So I'm not objecting to it. I'll abstain.
so we've got a few UPVC windows in, haven't we?
Yeah.
In the town,
Yeah.
There's not so many in that road though, it's quite.
It's a distinct little road, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a Victorian cottage, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we did agree on the Crichton flats, if you remember, but they're not very distinguished
No, not quite.
buildings. This Moat Sol is a more coherent, architectural avenue, if you like.
Yeah.
So you're proposing it, you seconded it, that's right. So proposal that we object to this planning application. Okay.
I'm abstaining.
Yeah.
I'm abstaining.
What's that then?
3 abstentions.
So,
Carried, isn't it?
should we do that again?
What's that?
Was it for the
So
Do you understand?
I mean, you can. I mean, this as you're a consultee, you can say nothing. So you can just go. You can just say no comment to DDC from us if you wanted to do that.
if we're split, then that might be a
Yeah, it's very close.
No
In
comment.
any case.
might be a
So I'll propose that we go no comment to DDC.
Agree.
You're happy with that?
Yep.
G. Planning application reference number 24/00418, proposal variation of condition 1, approved plans to water bowl assessment, 4 visibility displays and 5 fences and plants and a planning permission, 21/0121, the removal of condition 3, access of planning permission, DOV/19/011178, to remove restrictions to allow design revisions, visibility display plan amendment and updated water bowl assessment information. Location, land south of Whitemill, Ash Road, Kent, City 39JE. That's where the
No, this has popped up a few times over the years. This is the old Sam's Events field on from Whitemill. The gentleman in question owns the Sam's Leisure Park. We've been trying to get a road put in that land for a long time, so we can ease access to gain access to the back of the caravan park, but it's been rejected by us and EDC.
No, it's had the road approved.
It's had the road
The road's been approved for a couple of years.
Approved.
About 3 years, I think, now, since he first got permission. But they had it, Dover District Council put conditions on, because they wanted him to shut off the Woodensborough Road entrance and move his whole office to the Ash Road. And he said to do that, to move all his facilities there, it cost him nearly £500,000. So, anyway, he won his appeal that it cost the District Council quite a bit of money. But, so, I'm for that. We want to get the big traffic out of St Bart's, don't we? We want to see Ash Road. That's the worst.
Yeah, so the owner, Mr. Smith, he's won that appeal. I think that would have had a big impact on Sandwich because there wouldn't have been any car access through Woodensborough Road. So it would have impacted on the town, the co-op, etc. But that's by the by. I think with this, I mean, the documents are quite hard to decipher, but I think there doesn't seem to be any commentary on there from either Natural England or Kent Wildlife Trust regarding the water vole. Water voles are a fairly sensitive subject in the town, so maybe we should be asking them to comment. With the visibility displays, I've no real objection to that. I think that road, it has 3 or 4 accesses off it, with the farm shop, the aqua park, the Archers Low, and traffic does tend to speed up along there, so any turnings would potentially slow the traffic down.
Yeah, being 60 mile an hour,
which is for the good in some ways.
Yeah, because he's just trying to get those great big loads, they keep getting stuck up so far.
I wondered about archaeological considerations. Do there have to be any archaeological investigations before a development such as this one is carried out?
I think it's just variation. Yeah, just variation. He's got permission.
So this is a variation to approved plans. When I've looked at what's been proposed and I agree it is fairly technical, it seems reasonable, sympathetic to what the challenges are around that with those water voles and dealing with the water. The whole point about trying to traverse those. So I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with what is. This is a variation to an already approved application.
Yeah, I think that's what the spec is always taken them so long to be wanting to get on for ages. I think it was originally one time part of the RF a little bit up, on the other side where the white mill is. But then I remember there was a turf company selling turf there for donkey's years, taking the topsoil off, so it can't be that high a grade then. So, do you want to second that?
My comment is there's no consultee response on there from Natural England or Kent Wild. I'm not sure if they were consulted, but I think it should be.
I think there was actually on the earlier.
I'm reading something now. There is a document on there regarding the water voles and beavers, and they said there's no beavers in the area, but there are water vole nests there, but they were unoccupied, but now they are occupied, and that was done March.
But that's by the developer.
Yes.
That's not an independent view.
That's right.
So that would be my only comment, that we should recommend that Natural England and Kent Wildlife Trust consult if they haven't already been.
Recommendation to DVC and
What's our response?
Well, look, if we put a condition on, we approve this, but what condition that he gets, a survey done by the.
They're consulted, that's all. Maybe they have been consulted, I don't know.
I think they were.
They haven't responded.
Yeah, Yeah, quite a pack when a couple of years ago when it first went through. Yeah, okay.
So sorry, I've struggled to keep a track of that.
Yeah.
Now, so
Well, we're going to approve it, aren't we?
That's the
on
proposal.
the conditions.
That they, what, Kent Wildlife, isn't it?
Kent Wildlife Trust and Natural England be consulted if they haven't already been.
Well,
And sorry, who proposed that and then second?
sorry, but if you want to know what their view is, shouldn't we wait before we approve it? I mean, approving it and saying they should be consulted just means that the consultation doesn't really have any impact.
You can say approve subject to comments from those bodies.
Approve such. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Who's proposed that? I'll propose that. Who's got a second then? All in favour? So, it's dragging on so long that, because COVID hasn't helped, does it? All up. But he did a very, the original plan had loads of stuff on it.
Sorry, I've just gone onto my phone because my iPad's died, so I'm just...
H, planning application reference number 24/00372, proposal erection of a single-storey rear extension, 2 roof lights to rear roof slope and front of existing porch and rear extension to be demolished. Location St Lawrence, Richford Road, Sandwich, Kent, CT 199JB. Oh, that's all right to me. Yes, that's all.
Propose we support this.
Yeah.
Looks reasonable.
Yeah. Councillor Wiles. Councillor Sugar, seconding it. All in favour? Yeah, okay. Alright. Planning application reference number 24/00437, proposal erection of boundary wall with brick piers and railings, part retrospective, location 27 Postal Road, Sandwich, CT 13 0 FU. Well, there's been a lot of objections to this, and I actually went up there, so it's totally, because it's supposed to be all open plan, it's put footings in there, and it's right on the corner, so it's anyway.
Well, if it's the case that there's a covenant against any boundaries, then clearly we have to strongly object to this.
Yeah.
If it's already started, I haven't been to look at it, then we need to ask planning enforcement to get down there.
Oh, so it's just all
Yes,
yeah.
So I was going to say, I don't necessarily believe that covenants should determine the planning committee's decision. However, it is incongruous, it doesn't make sense, I can't be swayed about the argument for doing it, and as you say, there have been a number of comments from neighbouring households, so I can't support it.
And we did approve the original design to be all open plan, didn't we? We didn't, this is just and it's been a bit naughty to do retrospective again, isn't it? So, anyway, I vote we, I propose that we strongly object.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favour that we strongly object?
And also ask planning enforcement to
Make sure you look at it all there.
to visit.
Yeah, okay. J, planning application reference number 24/00473, proposed erection of 2-storey side TJ and single-storey rear extension, location 51 St George's Road, Sandwich, Kent, CT 13 9E. I think this is the old caretaker's cottage, isn't it? Manor School.
Well, the proposals are ready to double the size of the house.
Yes, only a little.
A house going from 3 bedrooms to 5 bedrooms. But,
Do you know where the house is?
St George's Road. It's just
It's in the back of it. It's in the back of it.
Manwood School haven't objected, is that so?
No, they sold the property off, didn't they?
Yeah, so no objections to it that I can see. Yes, it is a significant increase in terms of the space, but in terms of any technical assessments that will come out through the DDC stage, from my perspective, it's within their own land. It goes backwards rather than sideways.
You can't see it, can you?
No, not a problem.
Just a comment, I think with a lot of people doing more working from home, and they're going to be looking for extra rooms, they call them bedrooms, but in fact they're used as studies.
Yeah, it'd probably not be study, would it? Yeah. So, you propose that, councillor Super?
I'm happy to provide it.
Yeah.
Second.
Second, councillor. All in favour of the application? Thank you.
Abstain.
Where councillor Ross has abstained. Item 9, withdrawn planning applications. Right.
Ignore me.
To receive and note the withdrawal of planning applications, please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. 10. Planning decisions. To receive and note latest decisions taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. So, are we all happy? Would you want me to read them?
Yeah, don't read them out. Just accept them. I'll propose that we accept them.
You propose that we note them?
Yeah.
All in favour, we just note these?
Yeah.
Thank you.
People might, if you like,
11. Street furniture applications. To receive and consider any application made to DDC in relation to a street furniture consent application under the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982. Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982. Street furniture consent. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Okay. 12. Licensing. To consider any licensing notices and issues received from the Dover District Council. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Okay. 13. Enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing the agenda.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Can I ask Chloe if it's possible to get an update from the town clerk regarding the letter that Sandwich Town Council were going to send regarding the Harris fence on Fellowship Walk, please? That's it.
Also on the line.
On the line, yeah, sorry.
Wanted
Sorry,
to
Dwayne, yeah,
invite
right.
a senior officer at DEC to come to this
Sorry,
committee.
where?
The lines.
It's on 57 New Street.
Okay.
For a future meeting.
Okay. 14. Correspondence. To receive and consider correspondence relating to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning applications. You want to say? No. Item 15. Verbal update from our Dover District Council on matters relating to planning.
I'm not invited to your meetings anymore.
Okay. Well, that's it then, isn't it? Item 16. Date and next planning committee, 10th of June 2024.
Still got it, Jeff, just before half 11.
Could I make a plea that we don't meet the first Monday of the month? Because the first Monday of the month is when Sandwich Arts
To be fair, I will quite happily go with what William has said, because we used to have planning used to be on Wednesday, and it was changed from a Wednesday to a Monday, and then Townsgate Heritage was changed to a Wednesday. I do feel that it should be changed back.
To a Wednesday.
Yes.
I think there may be a problem with that, is that that was decided the dates at the last meeting, wasn't it?
We have
Yeah.
it.
And I really can't.
I'm quite happy to put an agenda
We'll have to
item
go
in
back to
council.
STC to get it.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that.
But I don't think you can do that
For 6 months.
Just 6 months.
It's just, yeah, okay. It's only because, as I said, some of us work, as I said, I work full time, and all it was set out and it's been changed and changed again, so it gets very confusing.
Definitely raise the concerns, but unfortunately, because it's been agreed in the previous.
I did send an email once saying about going back to Wednesday, but every people go, look, what do you do on Monday? So there we go. Thank you all.
Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Can each committee not agree with